Hello, Toon Army. What an absolutely cracking day to be a Newcastle United supporter. I hope you're all buzzing with excitement because we've got some absolutely brilliant transfer talk to dive into today. And honestly, it's got me more excited than a Saturday afternoon at St. James Park. Before we get stuck in properly, I've got two burning questions for our passionate fan base that I'm dying to hear your thoughts on. First, how would you feel about potentially signing Anthony Elanga for $55 million? Are you convinced he's the electric pace and creativity we need to terrorize Premier League defenses? Or do you think that's too steep a price for the Swedish winger? And secondly, what's your take on the possibility of Jaden Sancho joining our beloved Magpies? Do you think Eddie Howe's man management style could be exactly what Sancho needs to rediscover his best form? Or are you worried about his attitude and wage demands? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I'm genuinely fascinated to hear what you all think. Right then, let's talk about Anthony Elanga, shall we? And blimey, what a story this could be for our magnificent Newcastle United. According to the latest reports, we're absolutely confident about securing the services of this electric Nottingham Forest winger for around $55 million, even though Forest are holding out for $65 million. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that's a hefty sum, but hear me out. This could be one of the shrewdest bits of business we've done in years. Let me paint you a picture here, fellow Magpies. Anthony Elanga joined Forest from Manchester United for just $15 million back in 2023. And what a transformation we've witnessed. The lad's absolutely lit up the city ground with his blistering pace and creative output, finishing last season with 6 goals and 11 assists in 38 appearances. That's not just impressive. That's the kind of return that shows a player who's genuinely developing and improving his end product, which is exactly what we want to see. What's got me really excited about this potential signing is that Elanga is described as one of the quickest players in the entire Premier League. Can you imagine that pace, tearing down the wings at St. James's Park? The thought of him linking up with Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon in our forward line is absolutely mouth-watering. We'd have a dynamic trio, capable of terrorizing any defense in Europe, and that's exactly what we need as we prepare for our Champions League campaign. But here's what really gets my blood pumping about this deal. Elanga himself is reportedly keen on joining Eddie Howe's side, specifically because he wants to fulfill his ambition of playing Champions League football. That's the kind of hunger and ambition that aligns perfectly with where our club is heading. He's not just looking for a pay rise or more minutes. He wants growth, exposure, and silverware. That mindset is absolutely crucial for what we're building. At Newcastle United, the fact that we're confident of securing him for $55 million, despite Forest's higher valuation, shows just how serious our approach has been. His representatives have been engaging in multiple meetings with our hierarchy over the past week, which demonstrates the professional and determined way we're conducting our transfer business these days. It's a far cry from the chaotic approaches we've seen in the past, and it fills me with confidence that we're building something sustainable and exciting. What makes Elanga such an attractive proposition for Eddie Howe's system is his work ethic off the ball. Howe values players who understand the importance of pressing and defensive contributions, and Elanga's attributes could be maximized in our tactical setup in ways that perhaps Forest or even Manchester United couldn't quite unlock. His versatility to play on either flank or through the middle adds tremendous value to our squad depth, especially when we'll be competing on multiple fronts next season. The beauty of this potential signing is that it represents everything positive about our current trajectory. We're not just throwing money around, hoping something sticks. We're targeting pace, versatility, and the right mentality. Elanga's hunger for Champions League football speaks volumes about his character, and that aligns perfectly with the culture Howe is building on Tyneside. If we can get this deal over the line, it would make Elanga our second most expensive signing after Alexander Isak's $63 million arrival. That shows the level of investment and ambition we're operating with. But more importantly, it shows we're willing to back Eddie Howe with the quality players he needs to compete at the highest level. The thought of Elanga and Gordon on either flank, with Isak through the middle and Bruno Guimaraes orchestrating from deeper positions, is honestly the stuff of dreams for any Newcastle supporter. We'd have pace, creativity, work rate, and most importantly, the collective desire to achieve something special together. Hello, Toon Army! What an absolutely cracking day to be a Newcastle United supporter. I hope you're all buzzing with excitement because we've got some absolutely brilliant transfer talk to dive into today, and honestly, it's got me more excited than a Saturday afternoon at St. James's Park. Before we get stuck in properly, I've got two burning questions for our passionate fan base that I'm dying to hear your thoughts on. First, how would you feel about potentially signing Anthony Elanga for $55 million? Are you convinced? He's the now then. Let's turn our attention to what could be one of the most intriguing transfer sagas of the summer. The possibility of Jaden Sancho joining our beloved Newcastle United. This one's got me absolutely fascinated. And I'll tell you why. We're reportedly interested in the Manchester United winger, though we're facing competition from Aston Villa and Tottenham. But here's the thing that really gets me thinking. Could St. James's Park be exactly what Sancho needs to rediscover? The form that made him one of Europe's most exciting talents. Let's be honest here. Fellow Toons, Sancho's time at Old Trafford has been nothing short of torrid. 4 years at Manchester United, and it feels like we've barely seen glimpses of the player who was tearing up the Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund. The lad looks to be completely out of luck at United and is expected to be moved on this summer, which could present us with an absolutely golden opportunity to work some Eddie Howe magic. What's really caught my attention in all of this is the backing Sancho has received from our very own Callum Wilson. Now, Wilson might be on his way out of the club, placed on the release list despite being offered a new contract, but his words about Sancho from a 2023 BBC Sport podcast are absolutely telling. Wilson, who's played alongside Sancho with England, had some brilliant insights that I think every Newcastle fan should hear. I feel sorry for Jaden. I know Jaden personally from playing with England, and he is a top player. Wilson said, he has come to the Premier League and found it difficult. Does he need an arm around his shoulder? Sometimes people go the opposite way and think that screaming and shouting at someone gets the best out of them. That might be the case for someone, like myself, but someone else might need an arm to fill them with confidence to get the best out of them. Those words are absolutely crucial because they highlight exactly what Eddie Howe excels at: man management. Wilson went on to say, great man management gives players confidence to perform and flourish without fearing they will be dropped next week or kicked out of the club. Now, if that doesn't describe Eddie Howe's approach perfectly, I don't know what does. Think about the transformation we've witnessed under Howe, with players who seemed completely lost. Joelinton went from being written off as a failed striker to becoming one of our most important midfield players. Jacob Murphy has flourished into a genuine Premier League winger when many thought his Newcastle career was over. Even Chris Wood, before his departure, spoke about how much he appreciated Howe's honesty and man management approach. The beauty of Eddie Howe's management style is that he understands what it's like for a player to struggle, and he's shown time and again that he can take players under his wing and help them rediscover their best form. Sancho clearly needs exactly that kind of manager, someone who believes in rehabilitation rather than condemnation, someone who can provide that arm around the shoulder Wilson spoke about. Now, I know many of our fans are skeptical about this potential signing, and I completely understand why. There are legitimate concerns about Sancho's attitude and his wage demands, which could be astronomical given his United contract. But here's what I keep coming back to. If there's any manager in world football who could unlock Sancho's potential again, it's Eddie Howe. The 25-year-old has experience in Europe's top competition, which would be invaluable as we return to the Champions League. He's got pace, creativity, and when he's confident, he's absolutely unplayable. The question isn't whether he has the talent. We all know he does. The question is whether he can rediscover the mental strength and confidence that made him such a phenomenon in Germany. What excites me about this possibility is that it would represent everything positive about our current approach to player development. We're not just looking for ready-made superstars. We're willing to take calculated risks on players who might need that extra bit of support to reach their potential. It's the same philosophy that's transformed so many careers at our club already. The competition from Aston Villa and Tottenham shows that other clubs see the potential in Sancho. But I genuinely believe St. James's Park could offer him something unique. Our fan base, when they get behind a player, are absolutely incredible at lifting spirits and providing that extra motivation. The atmosphere at our ground, combined with Howe's man management, could be exactly what Sancho needs to reignite his career. Of course, there are risks involved. His wage demands could be problematic, and there's always the question of whether a player can truly change their mentality. But sometimes in football, you have to take those calculated gambles, especially when you have a manager who's proven he can work miracles with players who need that second chance. If we could get Sancho alongside someone like Elanga, we'd suddenly have incredible depth and options in our attacking areas. The combination of